the fact that like it's so different. Like we were talking about one thing in uni where we had no responsibility and it was just an amazing experience back then of just like no stress, no weight on our shoulders. And now we have to hit the kind of responsibility on the nail.
Yeah, and I was saying, yeah, that's what I miss. I think about uni. I don't miss necessarily specifically going out all the time. I don't miss specifically, like, I don't know, being in like a new city
Yeah.
and so on. But I do miss the sense of like, it's weird because I don't want to be like this now, but I miss kind of not really deeping life too much and not thinking too far ahead. I was so much more like just focusing on like, oh, what are we doing today kind of thing, what are we doing
Yeah.
this week, or we're going out on Friday night, like let's get loads of people around kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking a lot more long term, and there's a lot more things to think about now, I suppose. Back then it was like all you'd really focus on is like going out,
Yeah.
socializing, and university work.
Yeah.
There's the only two things really I'd really focus on.
That was it. That was
That was
literally it.
life, and now it's like, oh, you got to focus on obviously your own kind of work and socializing to an extent, but then also throwing on top of that finances, your future, your career, like where you're living, if you want to live
That's what it is.
out,
Like,
like
with uni where you're basically in a system,
in a
right?
bubble.
Yeah, you're in a
Yeah.
bubble. You're in a system made by, well, the university about this is you've got this deadline to complete by this. At the end of the year, you have to do this exam. If you pass, you go to the next year.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all you had to worry about. You didn't have to worry about making money because you didn't need to make money. You don't have a job necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might take a part-time job, but you don't have a full-time job necessarily. And that's all you had to do. You just had to wake up every day, go to the lectures, come back, have study, and have fun with your friends, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you just do that on repeat. And it was just like you're in this kind of
Everyone
system.
and everyone's in the same boat as
Yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like everyone does the same thing, and it's kind of like after that, then everyone starts to go on their own kind of journey. And you can even deep that like one step before at school from year 11. Everyone, well, in this whole school system, everyone kind of does roughly the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Obviously, everyone has their own personal lives or whatever. But in terms of school and what you have to focus on for the future, is like, well, I just need to focus on school and exams pretty much right now. Then after year 11, people start to, then those paths start to differentiate
Yeah,
into sixth form, college, apprenticeship.
yeah,
Then you've got your own kind of systems there,
yeah, yeah.
and then from sixth form, for example, or college, you might go then into university. Then everyone's in that system, and then after that, then
You have to
everyone's in
work.
the job, and then all these pathways start to
Yeah.
kind of yeah
And
move
that's
away
why,
from each
honestly,
other.
this is
Yeah.
why I really like the idea of making your own business. Because it's not, the system is something you create. It's not like a given system that's made by the government or it's made by a society in general, where you have to kind of, you're just put into that box. Because the thing is, when you are put into like university or school, whatever, it's great, but you can only max up
So much.
to exactly to its
Yeah.
capacity, to a certain level.
Yeah.
Right? You can't go above that. You have to break the barrier, so you have to do something completely different.
Yeah.
You have to take on more responsibility, which we're doing right now.
Definitely. Yeah.
And once we take on more responsibility, it's not the most common thing to do because no one really wants to do it. It's just too much effort. And what was that thing you were saying about Alex Hormozy? He was saying something about
You could be an entrepreneur or a one-trepreneur.
entrepreneur,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because it's very, very like,
a lot of people want to do those things. A lot of people, oh yeah, it'd be so much fun having my own business or working on my own schedule. But like actually putting in the effort to do that, there's not many people that actually want to do that.
exactly. Why is that? Because they like the idea of it. They know it's inherently true
Yeah.
and it's inherently like, this is what will make me successful.
Yeah, but there's a lot of hard work
There
behind
is.
that, and there's a lot less risks, I suppose,
Yeah.
in just kind of sticking to your 9 to 5,
Exactly.
and that's comfortable and that's safe. And I get that. Like a lot of people might want that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that.
What's your like honest opinion and like truth kind of towards that? Like, what do you personally think and what do you want to do?
What in terms of what I want?
Yeah, like, would you be comfortable or would you be happy just kind of living in that kind of? It's kind of like the university system, but for
Yeah,
real life.
that's what I mean. So like, I suppose the next thing from there, then, if we're looking at systems, maybe you could argue that like school, uni, almost like can puts you in that box of like there's only so much that you can do, and there's only so much control, I suppose, you have. And that 9 to 5 stops you. There's only so, again, with the 9 to 5 job, there's only so much that you,
Can actually do.
can do
Because you
and
get
can get.
promoted, whatever.
Yeah,
This is a typical thing.
salary and stuff. And yeah, you can get salary increases, and I
You
definitely.
can, but there's always going to be a limit.
Yeah.
There will always be a
And,
limit.
and a lot of the time, the way that I view it is like, is the this thing that you'll be sacrificing for that is essentially your time. Like 9 to 5, the amount of time that takes up, it's crazy. If you're running your own business, you're obviously that's incredibly time consuming. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, but
yeah.
more on the long term aspects, then you will be able to allocate your time into areas that you
Yeah.
want to do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You're in control.
The initial investment of that time is huge, but
Yeah.
then once you start to delegate and kind of
Yeah,
automate
it's
that
so
business,
worth it. Yeah.
you know, you're a bit more kind of flexible, and also I think it's a bit more rewarding as well.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Like,
I'm so, yeah, it's so much more motivating, like doing something for yourself. You know that the work that you're putting in is benefiting yourself and your business. If you look at it as a 9 to 5, I think a lot of people kind of laze around and whatever because
it's the complacency. I think.
yeah, it's a complacency because it's not really going to affect. They're still going to get paid at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if they do put extra effort in, which is
Yeah.
great if you do, there might come to some benefit of you in terms of progressing in the business and so on. But essentially, it's just benefiting whoever runs that
No,
company
exactly.
or business.
And actually, this is one of the things I really wanted to ask. Is that we're in a very unique position. I've mentioned this so many times before, and you know as well. You've explained this to me. But we are obviously in our 20s, right? Where to be honest, sometimes I think, am I taking it for granted? Because one time when I'm going to be 30, when I'm going to be 40, 50, I'll look back at my 20s and just realize, damn, I've got so much energy at that point. What will I tell myself, right? Because I do this sometimes with maybe my teen self. Like sometimes you go back and you're thinking, damn, if I had the knowledge I had now at 14 or 15 years old.
Even at uni.
Even at uni.
The amount of time we had at uni, and I just think, Jesus, like the amount of energy and time that I could put into, like, I don't know, just thinking ahead a bit. As much as I literally just contradicted myself there, saying like, oh, I like the fact that I didn't have to think about the future.
Yeah.
But if I'm in this mindset now, I look back and think, oh, I could have made more of my time.
But do you know why that is? It's because you're in a system, so you can't freely think.
Yeah.
You can't freely think when you're in a system, right? So when you're not in a system where you are influenced by certain things, so many different external influences come our way, our thoughts and our ideas are challenged. And that's how we mentally grow, because you're not confined to one restriction there.
Yeah.
You're thinking through the whole box. You're literally breaking the fourth wall in that way. But that's the thing. So when you're in your 20s, we have to really utilize it, I think.
Yeah.
Really utilize. We've got energy, more energy than we will do at 40, 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
That we can,
definitely.
and it's just about putting that energy into something really useful. End of the day.
Yeah.
You've started your business.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. And
You've got that now at that time. I know you've stopped. You've never really, to be honest, gone into like the gaming world,
yeah, I mean, I did.
playing games,
Yeah.
like stuff like that. I mean, it's a very common thing. It's just a common thing, but not just games, but like binge watching shows. Like, I used to do that so much, bro.
Yeah.
Literally every summer, I used to binge watch the Netflix original, whatever comes out, and I'd love it. And I'd just literally sit on my laptop watching that, have food.
Definitely. And I think there's a time and place for gaming, or there's a time and place for watching stuff. But essentially, like, if you're binging or that is just kind of what you do in your spare time. That's the only thing that you do in your spare time. Then obviously there's an issue. It's all about balance, I think.
You reckon? Yeah.
Yeah, all about balance, because you need some kind of downtime. But
yeah, you do definitely.
to keep going. But yeah, if that's just your life and that's all you do in your spare time, like, you could be doing so much more.
But yeah, no, that's why I think that urgency is just kind of lit like a fire underneath, just saying like, listen, just wake up, because otherwise you're going to regret this in the future.
Yeah, we've got energy, we've got time to an extent.
We do have time, for sure.
And like obviously we have to work now, which we didn't have to at uni.
Yeah.
But
even that, like in the future, you're going to have kids.
Yeah, you might have more responsibilities.
But that takes away time from you.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So you have a lot more responsibilities, a lot more different avenues you're going to have to put your time and energy into. And right now, when you're young, you can be putting that into stuff that will benefit you, so you can put more energy into kids, family, relationships when you're older, and be more kind of comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's, it's mad though. I
Mm.
think that's what I like because it's 5 years ago my thinking was different. Actually, 3 years ago my thinking was different. Then like 10 years before that my thinking
Mm.
was different. It's a consistent evolution which allows you to kind of develop a different mindset.
Yeah.
But it's
It's
nice
like, I
though.
think constantly learning, constantly open to new ideas, like, and yeah, that essentially that those are the ingredients to keep growing.
For success. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exciting though.
When you know yourself, then you'll know how you want to spend your time.
Yeah.
You'll know what you want to do for work. You'll know what you want to do in your downtime that actually helps you relax. The amount of people that I hear say, I don't know, like, oh, I'm always going out, but I don't want to go out, or
Yeah, that's crazy
I don't
though.
like going out anymore, or I don't like drinking anymore. But then they're still stuck in the same habits over and over again because that is, I suppose, the norm, or that's what they think is the norm, or that's what everyone else is doing around them. So they kind of just join in.
Yeah.
So you're not really doing what you want to do. You're just kind of doing what the crowd is doing, or
Also,
what you
you've
think you should be
you've
doing.
reinforced behavior
Mm.
because you've been doing it too many. Like before, that might have been something you liked.
Yeah, yeah,
You've done it over and over and over, so it's now reinforced behavior,
yeah,
meaning that's just the automated response to have fun.
yeah, yeah. Or have a bit of time, like let's go to the pub on Saturday night or something like that. Like again, it's fine if you want to do that every now and then, or if you do genuinely enjoy do that, then fair. But I don't know, like a lot of people when they really and like it's like what we used to say as well. Um, I think a lot of people, well, this is I suppose a different conversation itself with drinking.
Yeah. Now we can dive into
When
different.
people aren't drunk enough or not buzzed enough or something like that, and then they kind of realize what they're doing, it's just like a nightclub when you're sober. You
Yeah.
realize how weird of a place that is.
Really. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't really. Don't think I've been sober. Well, at least I
Uh,
can't remember. Which is bad. Which is bad. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah, yeah. But
when
I
I
remember
used.
there's been a couple times where I don't know, like maybe I just haven't drank as much. I'm not really in the mood for drinking, and then
Oh yeah, you just
you kind of you've
lethargic.
gone,
Yeah.
and yeah, so you've gone clubbing, then you see everyone kind of like stumbling around, like yeah, dancing can be kind of funny, but like you're doing that for like if you really deep, like you get there at what like 11,
1,
12
12.
ish,
Yeah.
and then clubs are open to what 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
So people are
Damn.
just doing that for
For
like
hours,
hours.
bruh.
So again, like it's
That's kind of jokes though,
yeah,
but
but
yeah.
if you're there sober,
Yeah.
you can't just like think what am I doing here? Like
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
mm,
Nah, it's true. And I think also having like something that you're really passionate about that you're doing, you realize the kind of other things that you used to, like clubbing, for example,
mm,
are just kind of like soul sucking, but or actually time sucking.
yeah,
Like you
yeah,
just realize now actually I have a frame of mind. I was watching a video on this, and they were talking about you having an exchange with something. Like if you do something, just ask yourself, is it actually benefiting you? Like, is it adding value or is it taking away value from you?
mm,
Right? So if I'm sitting there playing Fortnite, which I used to love doing,
mm,
and then now whenever I like, if my friend says, "Can we just jump on for a bit?" I literally jumped on for like one hour with my friend because he came back from all the way from Nevada,
mm,
and he loves doing it as well. And I remember playing. I only played because I had to play with him.
mm,
Like I had to do it because
yeah,
I
yeah,
felt bad. And it was a good way to just talk to him as well.
mm,
But the actual game, I just realized like, yo, oh man, like, I felt the shift.
mm,
Or if I was in a bar or something, I can now feel the shift within. It's mad to even think, but
definitely. And I think there's this concept that I was reading about, right? That you got to figure out that balance then between um, achievement and pleasure in your life, right?
yeah,
So you've got and different people might want different things. They might just purely want a lot more pleasure in their life or immediate pleasure
yeah,
and whatever. And again, that's fair enough. But you can scale these things, right? So, for example, um, me and you today, we went out to get some food. That would more be on like a pleasure scale, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
we just met up, we've caught up and stuff. So that would well, you could rate that as much as you want in terms of pleasure.
yeah,
And then there's also other aspects of your life that's going to fall under the achievement scale. So kind of how well you did with work today, how well you did in terms of kind of wanting to grow your businesses and stuff like that, and then you can reflect upon that in terms of, yeah, again, 0 to 100, and how well you did in that specific thing, or how much you felt achievement from doing those things,
Yeah.
and how much you felt pleasure from doing certain things as well. So
Okay.
so getting that balance between achievement and pleasure
Okay.
is really key. And then again, like I said, some people might want to 90% of their day to be achievement, 10% to be a bit of pleasure to kind of wind down or something at the end, whether that
Right.
be
Right.
reading a book, watching an episode of or half an hour of something on YouTube or something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you might get a bit of pleasure, and then it's like, right, I've I don't know, looked after myself a little
Can you
bit. I had a
get
bit of
pleasure
downtime.
from? Can you get pleasure from just doing that, whatever you were doing, to crazy amounts? Can you get pleasure from that?
What from?
From the actual work.
Yeah, I think you
So
can.
you can have on that scale, you can have 100% work, but then actually the
Well,
pleasure,
100% achievement and
achieve,
100%
no,
pleasure.
so 100% achievement, but the pleasure is actually doing the achievement.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah, definitely you can overlap for sure.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, for sure. And I think yeah, there might be certain aspects, certain things that yeah, you have something that yeah might be mainly oh yeah, that was a 60% achievement thing that I got there, and then 20% I got a bit of pleasure from that as well, and so on. But I think again, like with your growing a business and so on, you are naturally going to get pleasure from doing that as well. Like
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
really rewarding
yeah,
feeling of growing something by yourself. Like
yeah. And then
yeah.
especially when you see the kind of like fruits of your labor start to happen, because maybe in the first couple of months or even years, maybe you
Yeah,
might
yeah,
not see much, but then once you start, everything compounds. End of the
definitely.
day, right?
Yeah.
Everything compounds.
It's like going to the gym. Like
Hundred
when
percent
you
is.
start going, obviously, as much as everyone wants to go to the gym and walk out dench,
It's not gonna
like
happen.
yeah, you're
To be
not
honest,
gonna.
it's not gonna happen.
Even a month, 2 months down the
No, it's
line,
not gonna
you're
happen.
not gonna see much. But then maybe you start going 4 or 5 months, and maybe you look at a photo of yourself from before, and you say, oh, I'm starting to see a tiny bit of definition there.
Yeah,
That might be that little bit of pleasure that you need to keep going with that
yeah,
achievement and so on.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly that.
and it's the same. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can apply that to business.
but no, it's actually so interesting. I don't know. I just find it extremely interesting now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then sometimes it can be what's it called? It can be hard to find what you want to do. I think.
Oh yeah, it's and again like
I
that's
think that's
20s
difficult.
is again you've got the time to figure that out though.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think it is really like I know that we're saying oh yeah start a business and everything like that, but actually trying to figure out exactly what you want to do and like what the market I suppose and
yeah,
what society would value from kind of what you do as well
yeah.
is yeah it's hard to
So I have to pinpoint.
yeah it's
My
really
only
hard to
thing is
find out.
like if I'm spending so many years trying to figure out what I'm trying to do, then I've just wasted all that years.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I think yeah, you can definitely set aside time. I think a lot of yeah. I mean, we're society now. We live in a world full of distractions, right?
Yeah,
So if you set aside some time, I don't know, a notebook or like journaling or mind mapping, something around like what you want to do.
yeah,
I think if you set enough time per week, you'll you'll find a niche that you think you've got the correct skills for, or maybe the skills that you want to learn more about, um, and you definitely can figure it out if you set
yeah.
enough time. Yeah,
No, exactly. I think yeah.
mm,
Journey of self-discovery. I think that's it.
definitely.
But it's exciting though. I think a lot of the times as well, like you can't always have the end goal in mind, but you can't compare where you are now to your end goal. You
Mm.
have to really fall in love with the whole
Journey.
journey, the actual
Yeah,
process.
yeah, definitely.
And that is what kind of improvement really is. That's what self-development
Exactly,
is. It's just reflecting on the past.
exactly. Because if you're just focusing on the end goal, then you're probably going to stop.
You're definitely gonna
Like,
stop. Yeah,
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 because
absolutely.
the end goal is going to, it could be like or creating your business or getting wealth or the life that you want. It doesn't come quick, right? Well, the definition of quick, I'd say, is at least 10 years.
Yeah,
At least.
yeah. Think in decades.
Yeah.
That's what people say. Think in
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
decades. When you start thinking in decades, you can start really shifting things in your life. That's compounding in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. 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 So I think yeah, like I think yeah, enjoying that journey part of it and making it as enjoyable as you can as well. Like, and hitting small goals, like whether it literally just be like maybe first of all like how much time you're going to set per week, then it's like what you want to do specifically within those times and whatever. I know that you said in previous videos like how much has helped you not just kind of having a to-do list, but then actually kind of putting those to-do lists in specific time slots can increase productivity like crazy.
Yeah. I think it helps with I think the whole idea of discipline, because sometimes it's easy to like slip away with time, with
Yeah, yeah.
external things going on in your life. But actually putting in the time in a visible space and actually making sure that you listen, I've got to do this now. I don't care how I feel. I'm just gonna get this done.
Yeah, yeah.
Your thoughts, feelings, if they're there, you're not ignoring them, but you've got a task. You have to do your task. And once you've done the task, you actually feel really good.
Yeah, you'll never regret like yeah, getting something done basically.
You never
Like,
you've I've never been in a state, right, where once you've completed something, even on Fridays is actually one of my hardest days. Every Friday in the evening, I have leg day.
oh,
I
okay.
hate doing leg day.
Yeah,
Right? I'm
yeah.
actually being dead serious. I hate doing leg days.
I had leg day today. It was like,
Good leg
oh
day
god,
today.
yeah.
Oh, I hate doing leg day. I actually find it extremely just kind of fatiguing. But you know what? Yesterday, I finished work. I was like, closed my laptop, and I'm just like, I really don't want to do this. So I literally drove up there. I made myself drive up there. I was in the gym, literally outside, and I did not feel like doing it. Once I got into the first set, I was like, this isn't too bad. Once I completed it, you know what? I actually felt extremely, I don't know what it was, but euphoric or like proud or like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I felt
Yeah.
really accomplished.
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
then all my kind of, my
That's a
hate
healthy
towards
yeah.
leg day was just gone. Like, I just felt really good.
That's a healthy way of getting dopamine. Like originally how we used to get dopamine was kind of getting stuff done. Like
Okay.
when we get something done, that's a natural way of kind of gaining that satisfaction, which essentially is a dopamine rush.
Right, okay.
So yeah, that's the healthiest way I think to kind of
That's actually really
to get
interesting
that.
then, because
Yeah.
now it's all about instant dopamine
Yeah.
or instant gratification.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Through
you'll
other
be so
things.
much more fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah, get like, I don't know, doing that business, going to the gym, something you'll never regret.
You'll never regret.
Like
Yeah.
doing that over the week or something.
Yeah.
You might, it will be a struggle. Like obviously, trying to get yourself to stay disciplined doing that, and there'll be certain days like you said, like oh, like really not looking forward to that, or I really don't want to do that. But once you've done it, you'll always be glad that you've
You
done
did it.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the long term as well,
Yeah.
it compounds, right? So a few months' time, you'll be looking at your legs and be like, oh, damn,
Yeah.
striations.
Look at these tree trunks.
But no, that is the end goal, man.
Yeah, man. Oh. But yeah, I think we were talking about before, I think it came to me, that idea then of kind of like running or you're living your life through emotion.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about that. And a lot of people react or do things based off emotion.
Yeah.
And I suppose it kind of goes into what we were saying there. Like emotionally, you might be like, "Oh, I really don't want to go gym today," or "Oh, I really don't want to do this or that or whatever." But yeah, when you get it done, you'll always be happy that you've done that.
Yeah.
But there's always a reason why maybe you don't want to maybe do something.
It's just out of pure laziness, I think. Like mentally, like I just don't want to do it because I'm used to getting dopamine from another source, which is a lot easier.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
So
yeah.
for me, like I can just turn on my laptop and go to Netflix, and then that get my like satisfaction and just be chill.
Yeah, I think it's a lot harder now to stay disciplined because we are in an age now where there's so many more distractions.
Yeah.
So many more distractions. So I think it is
Yeah.
it is harder. It is a lot harder, and I think I don't know. Like maybe it's laziness for some people. Other times I think it's maybe a lack of awareness of
Okay.
of the sense of like
Yeah. Is it
how much your phone will
because
entice you, how
yeah,
much
is it
Netflix
because
will
I guess
entice you.
we grew up in a generation
Yeah.
where we have to kind of we're surrounded by basically
Yeah,
digital.
like kids now. I mean, when we were in school, I think that's when like social media was kind of on the up. I know Facebook was
Yeah.
there maybe a few years before school, but Instagram, Snapchat.
Yeah.
I remember when that was first
I think that was like year
becoming a
8.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
about
I remember.
2013. I remember. It,
Yeah, I remember Snapchat when it didn't have stories.
that's wild.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
wild.
now that's like the biggest. And I remember when stories was first introduced, and everyone was like, "What? Like, why
What
does
is
it have
this? This was
stories?"
in
Like,
year 11, I think.
yeah, it was. Yeah,
Like
maybe year 10, year
2015.
11.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
and
But
everyone was like, "What?" Like, I thought Snapchat was like you only see something once,
yeah,
kind of thing.
but no.
And now, yeah, then there's stories, and yeah. So I remember, yeah, the early days of it. But now, like, you go into school, and that's just kind of normal.
Mm,
Like, that's what everyone's on.
yeah.
So naturally, as a kid, like your brain's obviously still developing. So and naturally, you just kind of want to fit in.
Hmm.
That's humanly instinct is to just kind of fit in with the crowd. So you do these things, and yeah, I think it's a massive trap, and I don't think there's enough information out there around the dangers of
Yeah.
social
So
media
it is
and the
awareness then. It is
yeah.
awareness
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
and that
Yeah.
yeah, and then
The
that
lack of
obviously you
awareness.
carry that on into your adulthood.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But going off on that initial
In
point
all
about the
honesty, sorry to cut you off.
yeah,
In all
sure.
honesty, I wouldn't have come off social media if you didn't tell me that you were off social media, because I was just kind of I remember coming home from work, come down, sit on my phone for like an hour or so,
Yeah.
then make
Yeah.
dinner, then maybe sit on my phone a bit more, and then kind
Same.
of go bed. And then I remember you coming off of it and then telling me maybe the reasons why or why what you benefited. And then I watched the Social Dilemma as well, which is a really
Oh
good
right.
watch, and
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that's a real eye opener around social media. Um, and yeah, if it wasn't for those kind of eye opening things, I probably would
It's coming
still
up
be
to
on.
2 years for you, isn't it?
It's past 2 years now,
Past 2
yeah,
years. Yeah,
yeah,
past.
yeah. It's
Wow.
2 years and a
Congrats, man.
couple
That's
months, yeah.
in a couple months, or you've done it.
2 years and a couple months. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Fair enough.
I remember,
That's
and
crazy, though,
again,
isn't
like,
it?
yeah.
Do you ever deeper like, damn, I've actually been off social media for 2 whole years.
I, don't, I think I'm part. I don't really. I
Doesn't
don't
really.
think about it at all. There's
Yeah.
sometimes when like if someone's like, "Oh, can I get your Instagram?" I'd be like, "Oh, like sorry, I don't have Instagram."
Yeah.
And then
Also,
some
Kim won't
people
be
might.
happy with that. So
Well,
sorry.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm just not. It doesn't really bother me now. Like, I don't really deep it that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
it's just
don't.
part of life, right, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's
Yeah.
just I've adapted my life. I definitely don't miss it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because there's never a time, and again, like I reckon people, if people are watching this, um, the amount of times that if someone's scrolling, you're not gonna remember the last 5 to 10 videos you watched. You would not be able to recall each of those videos. It's just
No.
mindless scrolling,
Yeah.
mindless like dopamine
Yeah. Yeah.
search and whatever. Like it's addictive, and like it's an addiction that people don't either realize or it's kind of just like socially acceptable. It's no different
Yeah.
from mindlessly having a drink and shutting your mind off from the world, from getting drunk or taking drugs or something like that.
Yeah.
It's very similar in terms of just distraction based, in terms of what's going on in your mind, what worries you have about your life. Like it's an easy way to
Also,
distract
it's
yourself.
a great way for control,
More
right?
way.
Because these social media apps, right? There's a reason why it's all free. You've heard the term,
Yeah, yeah,
because you are the product.
yeah, yeah.
That's what it is. So once this is actually a big thing that's happening at the moment, where these companies can have access to your data, and the whole data space at the moment is it's evolving fast.
And yeah, someone was reading the small print of like TikTok or something like that,
Oh yeah.
and it basically tracks every other app that you're using.
Yeah. So why?
Mad.
Because they can sell you things. So
Yeah.
once you sell, like if I was a big large corporation,
Mm.
and I'm like, okay, I need like an adult male, lives in the UK. I need their data. I want to know what their kind of key purchasing habits are. All right, I know we've got Ryan on social media on Instagram. Let me just
Yeah,
send you
yeah.
his and a bunch of other people that are basically fit the description.
Yeah.
Easy, right? You collect that data. The social media apps have the age of your profile. They know exactly what kind of person you are.
Yeah,
They
or
send
just
that.
basically like, oh, I want to know people who like or view these posts or
Yeah,
like these
exactly.
posts
Yeah,
and
so
stuff
very
like yeah, yeah.
specific, right? And then they target the ads towards you,
Mm.
and that's how. It's all mindless in the sense like you don't really have much control now. You you scroll mindlessly, so you purchase mindlessly.
Mm.
So it's easy. It's easy. It's an easy trap there. So that's why.
That's another thing as well. Is like
It,
buying things is a
yeah,
way of kind of getting
honestly,
a bit of a oh like yeah I'm gonna get something new it's exciting when it comes, exciting
Yeah.
getting something new, and then a few days later it's just the norm, and then
It's-
you're looking for the next best thing.
Yeah, of course. That's what it is. That's what it is. And you buy your new phone, you're happy, that,
Yeah.
and you really protect your new phone in the first week,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
first month.
yeah.
Then honestly, a couple months later, you can just throw it on the floor and be like,
Yeah,
ah
yeah,
man,
yeah.
I just get a new.
I remember like even like with AirPods and stuff, I wouldn't want my AirPods to be like in the same pocket as my keys because I'm worried, oh, it might get all
The
scratched up.
magnetic.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
gets scratched up, or like the
Yeah.
actual case might get scratched up. Now it's like I don't know. There's somewhere like in my pocket. It's
They're
like
here.
you don't even think, and it's probably the same with the phone, same with anything. Uh, but yeah, I think yeah. So yeah, I think it's a lack of awareness in terms of
Yeah, no, it
social
probably is
media.
both, to
Like
be honest. It's awareness and society because I
yeah,
feel bad for the kids that are being born now. Bro,
scary
like
man.
that's
Like
all
it's
they will know
I
if you
really
think
do
about it.
think with yeah with going you're giving kids access to social media. I think there are, although saying that, there are some parents that I know that there's lots of ways now to kind of track what they're doing and shut off certain apps after certain times,
Oh,
or
right, okay.
give or them request, or the kids have to request permission for an extra
Yeah,
15 minutes through the parent's phone, which is
yeah,
good.
yeah,
But then a lot of people probably don't care about that, or see no harm in their kid having social media, or
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on it, so like, they can be on it, or just don't post certain things. But it's not that. I mean, that's a conversation in itself in terms of like posting things or
Yeah.
stuff like that. But in terms of literally just scrolling, that's one element of why social media can be so
Destructive.
dangerous,
Yeah.
and yeah, especially for young people,
Hmm.
because that's all they know. And like I said, like they just want to do kind of what the crowd's doing. It's just a natural instinct for them to kind of fit in.
Yeah.
Like you just want to be doing what everyone else is doing. So yeah, and people are exploiting that, and that in itself is, if you're getting all this um, superficial, superficial the right word, like hits of dopamine or unnatural hits of dopamine,
Yeah.
you're not gonna enjoy the things I suppose we were enjoying 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Whether that be like certain relationships, certain simplicities of life that can bring you a lot of pleasure.
Yeah.
Um, so that in itself can make you feel like
You know that there's
you're not
a
having a fulfilled life, or
yeah.
you're not
It,
having a
it all
happy
ties
life or
down
something
to
like
the
that.
instant gratification though.
Mm,
It all ties that. You know when you go on a social media app,
yeah.
you have to always go scroll all the way down,
Mm,
but it's never endless. So you have to scroll down and it stops, and
yeah.
then you refresh the page and it comes back. Why? Because
I remember again, like when it first started, there was actually an end point. Like
yeah,
you'd
yeah,
reached everyone that you'd followed. Now
yeah,
there's
the refresh thing. Because
yeah,
then
or the algorithm, or the for you pages and stuff. So
yeah.
there's literally
No, no.
endless amounts.
What I mean is when you're scrolling down,
Mm.
you have to scroll down, and there's a refresh bit. So when you go
Oh right.
down, you have to always flick it up. Then it comes back the next one. Why?
Oh
Because it's like an instant hit of dopamine.
right,
Because you
right.
have to really initiate
Mm.
that kind of a prompt for it to go
Right,
refresh.
right.
It's all just like dopamine control. That's what it is, at
Mm.
the end of the day. But
Definitely.
it's a very interesting
And
subject,
like,
I think.
all these social media, I mean, this is what it says on the social dilemma. Like they all know this. Like they all know it's addictive. They all know, they have psychologists,
Oh, of
psychology
course.
teams
Yeah, yeah,
within each corporation
yeah. Yeah,
that keep you enticed. They're all fighting for your time,
exactly. For your
and
attention.
yeah, and yeah, they're fighting for eyes on their app.
Yeah.
So they want to show you the best thing that they think is gonna keep you
It's
engaged.
basically mass data harvesting at the moment. They're
Mm.
trying to get as much data. They're trying to sell it on.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually a mad world at the moment. Oh,
Yeah,
the
so
digital
I'm
world.
glad I'm off it. I find it's a lot
Yeah,
more
honestly,
peaceful.
it
It's
really is.
like I feel like I'm obviously a lot of people say like James was saying the other day like, oh, like you off social media, and I was like, bro, I was off social media like when I was living with you.
Yeah. No,
Um,
but a lot of people don't realize that as well.
yeah,
When
yeah,
I sometimes speak to, like, for example, Ash or whatever, they ask me like, "Oh, let me just send it to you on Insta," and then they realize, "Oh, I'm not on it." So it's
yeah,
like they don't even know, but
yeah. It's weird.
that's fine.
That's very strange. Yeah,
That's
but
that. It comes to show that people don't really inherently care.
yeah, and it's another thing is like, you sometimes when you're on socials, you think, oh, I got to show this to people, I got to show that to people. That literally that proves there. People don't even realize if you're on or off of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like people don't really care what you're doing,
yeah.
and you probably don't really care what 90 to 95% of people are doing on social media either.
Yeah.
And then the 5 to 10% of people that you do care about, they're the people that, and I'm assuming you're the same, that I'd probably call or text or meet
Yeah.
up with, and I'd catch
Exactly.
up with them in that aspect rather than seeing a story or seeing a post or something like
Literally,
that.
when I used to have Insta, I probably had about a couple hundred followers, not much.
Mm.
I mean, that's very poor for a normal standard now. I
Mm.
think I probably had like 200 or 300.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
from that 200 or 300, I probably could count on both hands of how many people I really talk to.
Yeah.
It's just a very handful of people.
Yeah,
So
like
like,
again, like that's such an unnatural way of kind of keeping up to date with people that you would naturally kind of drift apart from, or
yeah,
oh, I used to go uni with them, but it wasn't that close, and then you go your separate ways, or you might hear a story about them through people, but now you're just it's information overload all the
yeah,
time
yeah,
and
yeah,
so on, like, and that in itself is like a unnatural way of comparing yourself to like
yeah,
a lot more people out there.
yeah.
Like again, that's unnatural. You normally compare yourself to a handful of people, or
That
maybe
you're
a
actually
lot fewer.
witnessing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Rather than all these people online, like you have unlimited access to
yeah.
anyone,
And
and
that's
you
a
can
trap.
compare yourself to anyone, and that in
Honestly, yeah,
itself
that's a
can
trap.
be a
And the
trap
only thing, the
again for
only
young
person
people.
you honestly, I know this is thrown around a lot, but it's so true that
Mm.
you should compare yourself is genuinely to who you were yesterday.
Yeah, yeah,
Is to if you really psychoanalyze yourself and you're like, listen, last month, right? I was good. I did this. This was actually really good. I'm really proud of myself here.
yeah. Mm.
But you know what? I actually might have spent a bit too much time doing this, and it wasn't too good for me. And you know what? I hanged around with the wrong people here. Wasn't too good for me.
Mm.
Then you start realizing, I know exactly what I need to do to be better this month.
Mm.
Now you do the same process over a 12-month period. It compounds, and you honestly change into someone completely different.
Yeah, you'll be 12
And
times better.
you'll be 12 times better, but it's not
Yeah.
just 12 times, it's 12, one.
Well, yeah,
So,
it's compounding. Yeah,
so
of
exactly,
course.
so
Yeah.
it just builds like
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. So
Now
it'll
you
be a
do this
lot
for
more.
2 years, bro.
Mm. Definitely. And
Another
again, it's
level.
like it's putting aside that time then for achievement, self-reflection,
So yeah,
like not
yeah.
distracting yourself or looking for the, or just again just being aware of what do most people do when they sit down on the sofa, or they sit down on the train or something like that.
Pull up the
It's
phone.
just a
Yeah,
natural thing. Again, they're not aware of it.
yeah, yeah,
It's just something you do.
yeah.
I still fall into it
I,
sometimes.
I definitely do as well. The thing is, I don't have social media. You don't have social media, but I still, when I sit down on a train, it's a good. Good point you mentioned that. The first thing I do is put on my AirPods and I whip out my phone. The first thing, and that's not necessarily bad,
Yeah, no, of course not. But it's
but
just being aware of that, isn't it? Because
exactly,
then
yeah,
that can branch off into lots of different areas. And if you did have social media, because I remember when I first came off of it,
yeah,
what jumped out to me, well originally I was just gonna have a break for a week or two, and what I first noticed was every time I sat down, I'd get my phone, scroll to the page that would normally have Insta or Snap or something,
yeah,
and then obviously the app wasn't there, and then that's when I came to that realization, like, oh God, yeah, like that was an automatic response where
response,
I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
even
yeah,
aware of what
yeah,
I was doing. That was
yeah.
just that was on autopilot there.
That's scary, but
Yeah,
it's true. And then
and that's what scared me.
when you remove the app and you go on to whatever you were meant to go on, you then somehow find yourself back on the app.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
even more scary. There's so many times where I delete or get off Instagram, go onto my emails or whatever, and then I'll be back on Instagram like a minute later,
So true, yeah.
and that is wild. But you know what? Now I think it's good. I think we're in a position right now like you can use your phone, but use it to like your benefit. So now I just
Yeah.
check my emails, I
Again,
make sure
yeah.
YouTube's on all right, and text people that I need to text, reply to all everything. Use it for work basically, and I think
Yeah,
that's
or just being aware of that. And there are lots of apps now. Again, I haven't looked into it, but I'm certain that there's lots of apps now where I'm not saying that everyone should just be off social media. Like some people might want it for whatever purpose, right?
yeah,
And that's fair enough if you do want that. But I think just being aware of the time that you're on it,
yeah.
and there are certain apps now that will just lock you off. I know that there's Apple, it will give you a reminder. Oh, you've reached your
Oh
limit,
right,
but then
yeah.
you can still hit
You
15
can,
minutes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
easy to just be like, oh, screw it,
Yeah,
like I'm gonna do extra 15. But there's other apps that just completely lock you off.
yes,
So I feel like that could be beneficial.
yeah,
A way of maybe looking at that balance if you don't want to commit to just completely getting off of it for one reason or another, because everyone has their own reasons for, I suppose, being on it. But I just felt like it wasn't giving me anything anymore, and like I can still stay in contact with people that I want to stay in contact with.
It's true. I think for personal reasons, I'm happy to be off it. But I think for professional reasons, or
Yeah.
like if you were to start a business, you do need it in this day and age.
Yeah,
You can't.
I'm gonna, yeah, and that's the only reason why I'd maybe get it back is to
Yeah,
go
you
down
should
that route
defo.
of,
That's the
yeah,
thing. You should always get social media for businesses.
yeah, yeah,
Because you want to compete.
yeah. And
And that
again, I
is
wouldn't
it.
be using it for
It's not for
looking at,
scrolling.
yeah,
It's for
it's just uploading and yeah.
yeah, because you're actually gaining something from it. You're not
Mm.
necessarily the product. You're using it to advertise your product.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So you're literally using it for your own benefit
Mm.
and not letting it use you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think that's a fine line there.
Mm.
But yeah, I feel like we spoke about a lot of things, which
Yeah,
is
we
great.
did, yeah.
Which is great
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. What, are you gonna use this as one long clip or like cut up or what?
You know what? I'm gonna leave it.
Oh
I'm
damn.
gonna leave it.
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay,
might put
yeah.
segments in
Yeah, yeah.
where like different topics because I quite like the whole idea. I've not really done a podcast before. We're
Okay,
outdoors.
yeah.
It's dark in a park.
Yeah. Just thinking of bars.
Yeah, drinking coffee in London.
Yeah.
I think this vibe. Also, it is middle of winter. I can't wait to do this summer, man.
Yeah.
We've got to do this properly
Yeah.
in summer.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. More to come for sure. Yeah. I mean, we've jumped from topic to topic to topic, but yeah, maybe
Love
the
it,
more
man.
we do this, the
Better.
the more structure we'll have or something. I mean, we've just kind of gone in like
Yeah, we freestyled.
we
it.
didn't have. Yeah, we completely
was-
freestyled that.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm happy though. I'm happy.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
Calm.
I'm trying to think
No.
if there's any other things.
We can make a part 2 right now.
Yeah. Let's do a part 2.
Yeah.
That was cool.